What's good, YouTube? It's me, boy Spitty, back again with another video. We just played Regionals. Unfortunately, I just lost the last rounds for X2 with Purrely, but I thought the deck was really good, and my losses were basically once because I bricked, and then once I kind of played kind of bad. But I wanted to do a deck profile, just explain the deck. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be really, really good for National season. So, yeah, we'll just dive in, I guess, without further ado. There's 3 Purrely and then 3 Lily. I see some people playing 2 of this, but you have to play 3. It's like a starter for the deck. The thing is with this deck, the other cards, you always need 2 cards to play because you need a discard to quick play to special summon. But there are times in the grind game where you just want the 1 so you can actually top deck it and play. And then obviously being a consistency card, we play a lot of hand traps in this build. So being able to pair one of this with 4 hand traps even is still good enough to play, right? So you always just want to play. This comes up a lot in the grind game. If you lose the 2, then you can't special summon it. You have no grind left. So I definitely think you just need to play 6. And then we just played a bunch of hand traps. We didn't play any discard engines because I felt like they were kind of bad. They didn't do anything on their own. Whereas hand traps, they're always live. And the thing is with this deck, you die when they kaiju you or they summon the Turikara. So in order to mitigate that, you want to draw into your hand traps with sleeping memory during the standby. So then you don't die. If they kaiju you, you add back 3 quick plays. And then you're not dying, so you get to play on your turn. You just break their board and win, right? So that was a theory behind that. 3 Ash. I actually played this over Droll. Honestly, I feel like Droll's only good against Super Heavy Samurai, and even then, it's not game breaking. Sometimes they can still make Baron and stuff. So I felt like this is just better against a lot of decks. Droll is horrible in the mirror match as well because it's just a straight up neg-1. This is just a lot better as a 1-for-1. And against Super Heavy Samurai, just pairing hand traps is always good. So I felt like it was better to play than Droll, which might be surprising. But I also played through Valor. I think this one's really, really good. It hits everything in the format. It's good against Purrely. You can hit Pure Lily, which is backbreaking when they target in the graveyard. And then against Samurai, you can still hit their links or whatever. And it's also level 1, so you can go into any of your XYZs. So I think that's really, really important. And it's better than Ghost Mourner, because Ghost Mourner, you have to use it on the link monsters, like the Scarecrow, the Super Heavy Samurai, and they haven't even used the effect yet, so they can just make another one and still use it. So in my opinion, it's not great. Gamma, this is one of the best hand traps. Everyone should be playing this. I always thought this out going first. I don't think it's very good because people aren't going to play their Drolls into Gamma anymore. And then 2 Nib for the last one. So this hand trap, a lot of people are not respecting it. They're not really playing around it. So a lot of times they just play into it and you can just nib them. You get a body as well. It's a little annoying to get rid of the token, so you can summon a relinquished anime to deal with it, but this card is very, very good. I recommend it. It's always live against Kashtira. Even if you set up a board, this is something that you want to draw into off of Noir, so you don't die, right? You don't get OTK'd. As long as you can play, you're fine. And then last card was Time Wizard. This is my 41st card, so in my previous regional video, we played Mirror Force, but I think it's funny going forward to play a meme card for every event. I don't know, I would encourage other people to do it. Maybe we can get a bounty going, people could, you get sealed product or something for resolving this. But this actually, I summoned it once against Branded, shout out to Calvin, and I actually baited out a super polymerization. So this got super polyed with Purrely. So it actually did something, and it was hilarious.
Did you win the coin flip?
I didn't get to coin flip, but it threatened his board, so he had to deal with it. It was kind of funny. Also, you can't start a strike with this, fun fact. Old ruling, but... and then, yeah, that's it for the monsters. We didn't play any discards. Again, just don't think they do anything. The spells, really standard, just 3 of each, because you have to, just for consistency. Also with this, it's really important to, if you can, just use it with the white one instead of the black one, because a lot of times good players will actually hold Ogre for the black one. They don't want to use it on my friend because of the fact that this can protect it, or you might have Gamma. So using the white one with this, it also protects you against things like DD Crow, and then you're able to make the Purrely, the guy who sucks up. What's that guy's name? Purrely.
Plump?
Yeah, Plump. Yes, Plump. So you can make it without using the black one, because everyone's holding Imperms and Bailers for the black guy because he targets in the grave, right? So using this in hand equipped is really good. Also, this is probably the worst one right now because we don't have anything to go into with it until next set. This one's really, really powerful because you can equip stuff. And this one is really, really good because it saves you from Ghost Ogre. It saves you from Gamma as well. So if you go summon a guy and they go Gamma, you chain this. Your effect gets negated, but you keep your monster, so you can still use the second effect to rank up into your XYZs. So it's really important to hold this if you can, especially for my friends. So then when they have the Ogre, you can just protect it immediately. So it's really, really good. It also can protect your Purrely Noir against Mirror Jade's effect in the end phase, which would pop it even if it has 5 or more materials, because it's a lingering effect. And then 3 My Friend, very good. Also you can crash your own monsters and add back 3 and keep playing. And then with the extra resources that you added back, you can make an extra Purrely Noir in main phase 2, which is what I did a lot during the day. So it's very important. And then non-engine spells, 2 tactics and 1 call by. So this card is actually really, really good because it replenishes like the lack of the discard. A lot of times you don't have a lot of cards left in hand, so being able to draw an extra card is very, very important. And like you can kind of choose to play around Drone Lockbird, or if you see this, you can like play some of your plays in main phase to play this live. So very, very good. Being able to steal stuff and go into Zeus as well. And then call by I think is just very, very good this format because everyone's playing hand traps, and then just like it's a no-brainer. And then traps was 3 Imperm and 1 Purely Leap. This card is very good, especially in the mirror match. If you have this in the graveyard, you can actually chain it to chain block them. So when they go like quick play spell and they try to attach, you can interrupt that so they can't do that. And a lot of times that's really crucial because they do need the extra spell after they make plump with 4 materials to get the 5th material for Noir. So if you chain this on their activation, then they aren't able to attach. And that's really important. The effect from the grave to shuffle back, that is. And it's also good for recycling. So very, very good. Didn't play the field spell, didn't really think it was needed, to be honest. Kind of a brick. And then extra deck. 1 happiness, really good. I was able to OTK like 1 person with it today. Obviously being able to attack over and over and then constantly add back more happies and then go into like a giant Zeus is always good. It also has the effect to bounce, I believe, the spell. So this actually does come up against like something like a Wakushi, where if your hand is so bad you made this and you set like a quick play spell, they can go Wakushi effect, you can chain and then chain happiness to bounce back the Wakushi, effectively negating it. So it's kind of cool. And then 2 beauty. I think 2 is pretty good because it does come up. Sometimes your hand is like awkward, so you make 1 with the white one and then 1 with the black one. So, and it's always good against cash carrier, especially being able to go white effect, go into this, and then when they Fenrir, you can chain and negate the Fenrir and crash and then make Zeus. So it's very, very important in that matchup. And then 2 plump, very, very standard. This is very good. You do need 2 because if they nib you or something, the second one comes up, also in the ground game. And then 2 Noir, very good. You have to be careful with this card when you draw cards, like in the standby phase, because you might play in a Kurikara. So a lot of times if you do have like 1 material on it and it's game 2 or game 3 and you're going second, then it might be better to not use the effect to draw and just hold it until they commit to the board. And then that way you're not playing in a Kurikara, which is like, could be a blowout card. Also, there's certain hands where if you have this and you have the option of ranking up in the Noir, it's not always correct, because if you have like another quick play, you can actually set it as an interruption. So in certain hands where you have like the trap and a quick play, like what you can do is you can use this to banish a card because you chain plump to attach and then it banishes, and then you can rank up to this. So you forego a draw in the standby phase, but you get 2 extra interrupts because 1, you get an interrupt off this, and then you get the other interrupt off this, and you also get an extra material. So your Noir is usually like 7 materials instead of 6, so you can detach 2 and it's still protected, right? So just like little things to think about. And then the other stuff was Fuko. So you could play a Slacker Magician instead. The benefit of Slacker Magician is that when they only have a Rise Heart in the attack mode, you can crash the Slacker Magician because it can't die by battle, and then you can make a Zeus with 2 materials, whereas Fuko you can't because you have to detach 2, so then you cannot make Zeus right away. You would have to make Downward, and then they could just banish it with their Rise Heart. However, this card is a little bit better against Branded because Mirror Jade doesn't target, so making Slacker Magician wouldn't do anything. I had a scenario where I had 2 level 1s today, and I was able to go into this, it didn't Mirror Jade, so I could go into Zeus in main phase 2 and wipe their board. So just like, I think this card is still really, really good. It threatens when you have any 2 level 2s on the field, or level 1s, they have to like banish something, or this is just a blowout. And then Lyrilusk, Princess Sprite, this card is amazing. We don't play the other Ensemble Robin just because your hand has to be so good to be able to make like a Noir plus that, whereas this comes up a lot of times to dig for the extra spell, because like Plump is always with 4, right? You use the attach and 2 and then you attach 2 more, so you always have to dig for like an extra quick play to make the 5th one to rank up to Noir. So this comes up a lot, and it's also a lot better to be able to like see another spell, I think, just as addition on your turn instead of like trying to get advantage on their turn. Like it's easily be outable the Ensemble Robin in a lot of scenarios. Also, like if you have Noir, it's really bad that you're kind of forced to bounce. If they go normal summon like a Soul Piercer and go attack your Ensemble, you're kind of forced to like bounce that, where as you normally might not. So yeah, I didn't really like that card. This card's good. Also, there's another one that can add DD Krill, so just cool to think about. And then Downer, Zeus, you do need 2 because you go into this a lot. Also, like, just try to make this like an even number as well. Like, even with 3 materials, add on the extra downer, because then on the next turn, you can overlay another Zeus and have 2 materials. And then links, we play Dark and Anima. This is just for a nib token. Didn't really come up, but in theory, this deck has a struggle against getting rid of big nib tokens, so you kind of need Anima for that, and then Dark's generically good. One card that I definitely should have played was the Agents, the Twin Agents, because that's an out skill drain. Actually, one of my losses against Super Heavy Samurai was because they had skill drain, and I literally could have just summoned 2 fairies, made that guy, and popped skill drain on 1. So I definitely think you need to play the Agents card going forward, out skill drain. You don't want to side Cosmic Cyclone against Super Heavy Samurai just for skill drain, right? So having a in-deck answer is really, really important. And I don't know, Unicorn could be important as well if you get debarriered, so you have removal, but it didn't really come up. And then side deck's very standard, just played 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Harpies just for generic back row hate. This is also quite good going first, because a lot of things resolve around like continuous or field spells against Kashkira Birth and the field spell, against Purrely mirrors, against the My Friend. And also it doesn't, like, you can't gamma it, right? So it's always a clean 1-for-1 answer. And then we side deck 3 Droll just for Super Heavy Samurai. That was like the only matchup I brought it in against. I don't think this card is that good as people think it is. It's still in deck 1. It's awful in the mirror match. Don't side it in the mirror match because it's like pure zoo. It's like really tit for tat. Every card counts. And then instead of Bells, played the Bastiles because I felt like the bodies were more relevant, and also it's better against Branded because you can't really Bell a Branded in red, for example, under Branded, the continuous one, Branded Lost. So this just gives you bodies as well, and then being able to like Zeus and chain this and then send this and you get another send or whatever is cool. Or when they use their Zeus, you can train. And then Pankrotop, generic answer. It's an out to spell counselor, out to skill drain. You guys should definitely be playing it. Even though like you typically summon monsters in your draw phase, still this card I think is good enough that it warrants a spot. And then the really cool card that I played going first is 3 Shared Ride. So this is essentially like a max C against every deck, well, almost every deck in the format, because they're always adding. Everything adds, so at worst, it's a 1-for-1, which is fine. And then it kind of puts pressure on them, because any consecutive card they add, you get to draw a card. So anytime they add a card from their deck or graveyard to the hand, except by drawing it, you draw a card. So in the mirror match, this is really broken, because they went like My Friend, and I chained this, and I was able to draw a card, and they just couldn't use any of their Purrely effects for the rest of the turn, or else I would draw like a billion cards, and I had Nora up. So it was like really, really oppressive. Against Cash, you still get like 1 draw, or 2 draws even, if they go like Field Spell and the Unicorn. Against Super Heavy Samurai, obviously it's a lot like Droll, where you just like keep drawing hand traps to survive as they combo off. And it kind of conflicts a little bit against Droll, but I still think it's really good. It can be asked, unfortunately. However, I think there's a really good blanket card. So guys, if you want to test this out, definitely do that and let me know. And yeah, that's about it. I guess shout out